Good evening, everybody. With this percussion whirlwind, I wish you a very welcome to this Fort Mason jungle. At 4 o'clock, there was an investment banking seminar. We've turned corporate America into a jungle. My name is Olaf Malver. I'm the president of the Wings for the Earth, and I welcome you to join the Wings for the Earth in this festive celebration of the tropical jungles, the indigenous people, and the animals that live within it. The way the Wings for the Earth will do that is to present you to a cornucopia of impressions from the endangered rainforest, and in that process open your eyes to a fantasy world of great diversity, unbelievable beauty, and peculiarity. We will do that by admiring the insect world. In short, as it says on the front page of your invitation and program, we will watch and let art take flight. But before we do that, well, what are the Wings for the Earth? Most lawyers would look at our bylaws and they would say it is an organization who aims to promote sustainable insect management with the purpose of saving endangered tropical habitats. In more non-legal terms, what we really do is to help indigenous people to utilize, together with them, one of the most abundant resources in the jungles. That is the insects, in such a way that the same people and the environment that they live in are going to be preserved. Let me just give you an example which relates to the specific reason that we are here tonight. In Colombia, in the Pacific rainforest, in an area called the Chocó, the Wings for the Earth, together with a local non-government organization, Gerencia Verde, and Conservation International, is helping the local Choconians to set up an insect-producing enterprise. So we will enrich the jungle in such a way that we will get more butterflies in the area, and we will take a little part of those butterflies out of the area and sell them on the world markets. Now that's not a new approach to use resources from the jungle to kind of make an economical fence. It has been done before with tagua nuts and nuts that you put in your Ben and Jerry ice cream. But what's very unique is that we use insects to do this. And I can tell you that insects is a very, not only beautiful resource, but also a very lucrative resource. And we hope, for instance, that some of the butterflies that the local Choconians are producing in the jungle will come up to insect zoos in the first world and flutter around so that people can admire them there. They will thus be sold to insect zoos, and we get the jungle up here and pay for it. So we, by buying these insects, are directly adding to the conservation of the preserved habitats. Well, why is the Wings of the Earth so unique? 265,000 of those are plants, and 750,000 of those are insects. So more than half of the known species that we know today are insects. So we really have a huge reservoir to focus on. Great base material. Some of the other projects that we are involved in beyond the butterfly ranch program in the Chocó is an insectarium that we are setting up in Uganda. We also just started a program in Mexico to breed beetles, beautiful golden beetles that we want to incorporate in jewelry. And hopefully in the future, together with other organizations who are already involved in these kind of projects, we would like to focus on honey and bee wax production. So it's all in the kingdom of insects. Wings for the Earth is a very hands-on organization. We work closely with local organizations and want to get our work away from offices down to the ground. to in fact help or facilitate the process of planting insect host plants, setting forth harvesting techniques, and also helping with marketing and sales mechanism. So we're not a per se politically driven organization. We are more a hands-on grassroots organization, and our action will of course affect somehow the political scene, we hope. Also, although we have scientists who are helping us setting up the project, because you do need a scientific approach, it is not science that drives our project. I know there's a lot of discussion right now of how important it is to look at the biodiversity. This is my son crying. He's never heard his father talk so much. Come from many different backgrounds and trainings, and we're talking about wildlife management people, development people, traditional development people, anthropologists, and even people with a common business sense. So what we are in fact doing is trying to solve a complex problem in a complex manner. I don't think you can solve this deforestation problems in a simple one-sided manner. You really have to be multifaceted, and there's nothing like a butterfly farm project who demonstrates that. You really have to cover all the facets to get a successful development project. Well, the reason that you are here tonight is, first of all, to have fun and to help us fundraise. Fun and fundraise. And we fundraise for a specific project in the Joko, as I said before. And I can tell you that the Jokonian project has gone on already for 1 year and is going forth at a reasonable speed. But a few months ago, the Colombian government stopped all funding for the project, and they're in dire need of more money. They have shifted some project money from other projects to this butterfly ranching project, but that's still not enough. So what we are trying to do here is to raise about $10,000 so we can get them a push in the right direction, and they can continue their activities for at least a year more. And in the meantime, Conservation International, the World Wildlife Fund, and the Wings for the Earth are working extremely hard on raising the overall long-term funds for this project. So when I say that, have in mind that we have raffle tickets for sale, we have a bar, and not a very cheap bar, and if you are thirsty, nothing more positive than the beauty of a fluttering butterfly or a golden beetle crawling in the mulch in the jungle. I think that we have heard too much doomsday. Let's rather doomsday talk about how we are soon going to explode as a planet. I think it's time to look at it in a more positive sense. I hope that you come here tonight and you go home and you have experienced some of the beauty that all these artists and volunteers have put together tonight. And this is the time for me to thank that fantastic crew of people that came to us and for free have worked for months to have this happen. Many weekends have been spent, and I would thank specifically my wife Susan, who's out with my child outside the building right now, Steve Leonidakis, who is the art director, Astrid Johannes, who created the beautiful jungle environment in here, and the two raffle coordinators, Julie and Mark Campbell. Special thanks to Ed Fitzsimmons, who made this happen by donating the money for the stamps for all the invitations. Very practical and good help. And of course, most importantly, I thank you, the audience, for being here tonight. Now, as a very special treat, I will let a true wing speak. We call all ourselves the wings, but there's a true wing here tonight. She's going to flutter in from the left side. And I would like to introduce Raquel Gomez from Conservation International. She is the program coordinator. She flew in yesterday from Washington, D.C. And she's come here to read a little message from you, from the community of the Chocó in the jungle, to let you feel the link between why you're here tonight and what's happening down in the jungle. Raquel, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. This is such a wonderful gathering. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for your support. I also would like to thank Wings for the Earth and all the contributors, the sponsors, and the volunteers, the artists that have made this place so wonderful and that have made this event happen. As a representative of Conservation International and as a Colombian, I feel especially honored and especially thrilled to be here and to see such a manifestation of support. This weekend is a very important one because it marks the 500th anniversary of the arrival of Christopher Columbus to America and the beginning of 500 years of destruction of the rainforest and the Indian nations of our continent. It is actually a moment for reflection on the urgent need to rethink our relationship with our environment, with our native cultures, truly owners of the knowledge necessary to achieve a harmonious relationship with our mother planet. I have come here tonight not only as a representative of Conservation International, but rather as a messenger of the Afro-Colombian community of the Tatabro Basin in the Chocó region of Colombia. The Chocó region of Colombia is one of the richest and most diverse areas in the world. The Chocó rainforest is the wettest area on Earth and harbors the highest concentrations of plants and animal species, of which a great percentage of them are not known anywhere else in the world. The 3,000 peasants of the Tatabro community live in the Chocó rainforest and depend on it for their survival. Today, they struggle to survive as well as to find alternative uses to the natural resources in order not to destroy the rainforest. Conservation International and Wings for the Earth believe that the conservation of the Chocó rainforest is only possible through creative solutions that are scientifically based, culturally sensitive, and economically sound. The people of the Tatabro Basin know that this is happening here today. They know that you are here supporting the project, and they have asked me to send you a message. To our friends in Wings for the Earth, and to our friends in San Francisco, the United States. 500 years ago, our continent was incorporated to the rest of the world by the Spanish colonization. Since then, our culture, our natural resources, and particularly our biodiversity, have resisted to disappear. Regardless of indiscriminate colonization and the powerful interests which threaten our livelihood, we can still share with you the most diverse and richest regions in the whole world, the Chocó region of Colombia. The Black and Indian peoples that inhabit this region for many centuries have been able to subsist and to build extraordinary cultures in harmony with the natural world, preserving the Chocó rainforest for the future generations and consider it today a World Heritage Site. Today we need your support to defend it, to protect it, and to continue to learn from it. With your support, we are now developing a butterfly ranching project located in the Achicayar River Valley, where we have already identified many species of butterflies which produce in a sustainable manner will allow us to increase the value of our standing forests as well as to provide our community with an economic alternative to deforestation. We would like to share with you the hope and the challenge of this project, while together we build the path towards the recuperation of life and peace on the planet Earth. With gratitude, Herencia Verde and the peasant community of the Tatabro Basin in the Colombian Thank you very much.
Media montage. The photographs are taken from the collection of Duncan McSwain, a teacher here in the Bay Area, international traveler and photographer. My son Dimitri had his first encounter with a June bug at age 7 while sitting in an outhouse in Utah. This heavy thing came clacking loudly through a ventilation slit in the evening heat and slammed itself from wall to wall, buzzing like a broken weed eater, until probably brain damage from repeated concussions, it crashed to the floor. It lay there floundering on its back at Dimitri's feet, its wing covers clicking and popping, wings humming in abortive fizzes, antenna and jointed legs flailing and stabbing. Dimitri's body, which had so often been given gladly and proudly as a climbing wall for bugs and lizards, pressed hard against the outhouse wall. Shaken by this violent insult to his privacy, he could only reach out with an extension of twisted toilet paper and knock the crinkly creature over to its feet before anxiously exiting the cubicle, leaving the sounds of futile and freaky frapping to seek harmony with other elements of outhouse ambiance. This next vignette is another June bug encounter. It occurred about 10 years later. June bugs of Lake Tahoe. Gabe, my 6-year-old boy, was delighted by the June bugs of Lake Tahoe. So big, so weird, so easy to catch. They're actually July bugs in Tahoe because that's when their fat bodies, wide as your finger, come fuzzing through the night, furiously struggling to stay aloft. Gabe snatched them off screen doors where they hung with black leg hooks, looking like exotic Amazonian contraband, their lacquered shell-like wing covers striped white and mahogany, shining in the yellow porch light. Gabe would parade his June bug captives around, showing off the mink stoles of auburn velvet covering their shoulders, and the odd moose-like antlers ending in feathery combs that curved out from their heads, occasionally vibrating so fast they became invisible. For his pièce de résistance, Gabe poked and prodded until the June bugs would rear up on hind legs and emit these amazing tiny shrieks. When finally one of his semi-trained pets passed away, Gabe grudgingly agreed to release the balance of his brittle menagerie. He carried them to a second-story balcony and released the first one. It frapped in glorious high-altitude free flight for no more than a second before it was snatched mid-air by a blue jay who flew on with a chunky June bug pellet in its cocked beak. I thought I heard a tiny shriek as the blue jay disappeared into the trees. This last piece is entitled Attack of the Praying Mantis. It occurred about 3 years ago. Gabe was obsessed with praying mantises. Maybe it was their alien looks, standing green and upright with bulging eyes and snatching claws drawn fiendishly up against their chest. Maybe it was the menace of that insect stare of their cocked triangular heads peering out from the pages of the nature books. Like most boys his age, Gabe was drawn towards any creature with a savage and predatory reputation. He decided that I had to draw him a giant praying mantis. Once I did, he traced it over and over and over. The first thing out of bed every morning, he'd hunch in front of the floor heater and draw mantises until finally he could reproduce them on his own. Eventually, Gabe concluded he must have his own living mantis. He wanted to serve it live prey and observe its grisly feeding habits. Pet praying mantises proved hard to find. You won't find them in your run-of-the-mill pet shop. We finally found one, a 5-inch imported African specimen in a lacquered wicker cage for sale in an art curio shop for $60. I asked the salesperson if there was any warranty on the life expectancy of this expensive and fragile-looking creature. Figuring an unguaranteed $60 was too much to put out for a pet from stock with notoriously short lifespans, we left the mantis behind with the rest of the exotic knickknacks. One day, we discovered among the impulse items at our local nursery a box of praying mantis eggs being sold for backyard pest control. For $4, we got 2 gray egg cases, papery pyramids the size of large strawberries, each containing 200 eggs. We followed the directions on the disc-shaped box, placing the egg container on the windowsill of Gabe's room for maximum warmth and light, and waited. For weeks, then months, they sat there and nothing happened. The box lay on the windowsill collecting dust, and the subject of praying mantises drifted, discarded in disgusted disappointment from Gabe's consciousness. I arrived home from work one day and was reaching in my pocket for the house keys when the front door swung open with a wild-eyed Gabriel standing, no, vibrating with what could have been taken for either panic or ecstasy. "Attack of the praying mantises! Attack of the praying mantises!" he shouted. "Come on!" We rushed down the hall to his bedroom to find Gabe's older brother crawling around on the carpet, making swooping sweeps with his hands. Upon closer inspection, I realized the room was covered with praying mantises. Thin as a pin, and no longer than your baby fingernail, everywhere, on the carpet, the windows, the walls, the toy boxes, the bed. A bunch were still in the cardboard cup that originally held the egg cases, now lying on the floor with the lid off. Gabe had pried up the lid for one more hopeless check, only to have hundreds of frisky newborn bugs fly out. We spent the next few hours collecting them, and finally released them into the yard. They must have all eaten each other or become food for something else, because the next day they were gone, and we haven't seen one of them since. Thank you. My cohorts at University of California, San Francisco, Alan Tower, and his partner. Come on up.
How's it looking back there, Paul? We've had a very short sound check. So. Another very short sound check right now.